Your brain's not just bad at remembering things, it's actually designed to forget things. You don't believe me? Stick around. We often find ourselves getting so upset and getting so frustrated and think of it as a failure when we can't remember something, whether it's someone's name or if we walk into a room and we can't remember why we're there. Or there's like a song you're thinking of, it's just on the tip of your tongue but you can't quite get there. Yeah, that's all normal. Because the truth is that our brains are always actively pruning or constantly going through your memories and through the different experiences you've had and trying to get rid of some and delete things essentially. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the science of why we do that, of why we prune, why we get rid of some of our memories, and maybe more importantly for you, some actual science-backed techniques to allow you to improve your memory so you can better remember the things that you actually need to hold on to. So stick around for the last couple. All right, now let's get one thing straight. We often think about our brains as this big, powerful, massive recording software that just records everything that comes in. Or it's this big old filing cabinet you pull out and all your memories are tucked away safely and all your little gyres of your brain and all the lumpy little smooth bits, like it's just tucked all up in there. I'll often say that it's kind of like reaching between the couch cushions of my mind when I'm trying to find a memory that's just kind of buried down. But here's the thing, memory is actually more like an editor. It goes through our experiences, through our lives, through the things we've learned, and it edits it. Cut, right? Chop, chop, chop. And it takes out some of the things that you kind of think are less important, and it keeps the things that are most important for your survival. And that's the key.
Where's the key? Where's the key? Where's the beautiful key? Find the key, find the key, oh how happy you'll be.
Our brains aren't necessarily designed to remember the name of some random person that you met at a party. Our brains aren't designed to always remember every little detail of what you need and why, and if you needed a soda or not when you walked into the kitchen, whatever's going on. Our brains are designed to remember the things most important for your survival. The fundamental purpose of memory is to help you survive. It's to help you survive another day. It's to help you adapt better and be more likely to live in a better way. Now, the problem is in our modern society, this gets a little bit confusing sometimes for our brain, because our brain, at the core of it, is the reptilian brain, which is where your hippocampus is. The hippocampus is what's in charge of memory encoding, not holding, but is what's in charge of actually like encoding the memories and making sure that something gets locked in. I often think about the hippocampus kind of like the hippocampus. You think of it as the place that hippos go to learn, or in our modern society, the place that we students go to learn. But the students don't just stay there, they go all over the world, they spread out. This is important to think about because the hippocampus is not like a library that just holds everything. Because or else when someone would get brain damage and they have some damage to the hippocampus, it would mean they have no memory, thus amnesia. But what we actually see is that when someone gets brain damage and it damages the hippocampus, it can cause different problems. Most often, it leads to not simply just your retrograde amnesia or not being able to remember the past, but sometimes it can be amnesia of not being able to make new memories, which is because the hippocampus is, again, it's in charge of memory consolidation and memory encoding, not just simply memory storage. Memories are stored all throughout your brain, which is why pruning is important. Pruning is a technical little term that's used in different fields, but in psychology and in science, we're often referring to pruning of synapses or connections. So a connection between like a stimulus and a memory. And so when it's pruned or cut, then sometimes that memory gets lost. That's a normal process. And I'll explain why in just a moment. Before we get into pruning, let me talk about 3 different reasons that we often forget stuff. Number 1 is it never got in our brain to begin with. This is what's called memory encoding failure or error. This is like when you're scrolling on your phone and your spouse or your partner is talking to you and then they stop you and they say, you know what I'm saying? And you're like, oh, yeah, no. Or if they asked you about, or if they were telling you about this date or this event that they have planned, and then a few days later, that event comes up and they're like, I told you about this, don't you remember? But the problem is that you were on your phone, you were scrolling, so you weren't paying attention. And so when they told you that information, it just kind of went like this, boing, right? It never got into your brain. Another example would be like the stranger at a party. So if you go to a party, then there's a lot of other information going on. There's the music, there's people all around, there's food, maybe you're hungry, maybe you're thinking about like what you have to do that night, what you need to do tomorrow. Maybe you're thinking, oh man, did I brush my teeth? And so when the stranger tells you their name, if you have so many other things going on, then they tell you the name, and it goes boing, right? And because it never gets into your brain to begin with, because you were thinking about so many other things.
Come on, baby, what's the name? We threw out his name!
So that's one reason, is memory encoding failure or error. Now the second thing is the use it or lose it kind of phenomenon, where this is the pruning I was alluding to before. So when you don't use your memories, when you are not thinking about something specifically, then your brain says, why are we carrying this around? We don't need it anymore. Cut it out, send it away. So what does this look like? Pruning in trees is if the branches are getting too long and they're getting into things and they're taking up too much energy from the trunk of the tree and causing it to have trouble growing, you cut off the ends, because then it gives more energy, brings more energy back in to encourage growth. The same is true in our brain. If you treated your brain like you treat your email, where you have probably 20,000 unread emails, then your brain is going to have all this information to try to slog through anytime that you're like, oh, I need to find that one email. And so you type the search bar and it takes forever to load because it's sorting through 20,000 emails or more, right? And so this is one of the reasons your brain is designed to actually forget things. Because if you just were like a sponge and you just remembered everything you ever learned, ever saw, then your brain would be so full that it would be hard to actually process things. And so in the moment when you need information, it would be very, very difficult to recall it. Now there are some people who have photographic memories and their memory works and functions differently, but that's a whole topic for a different video. And now number 3 is interference, or kind of crosstalk. This is like when you accidentally call a new partner by an old partner's name, or if you can't remember if you forget, you no longer remember your old passwords because now you have your new password. Maybe you can't remember your old phone number because now you have a new phone number. It's because when sometimes memories are so similar or are in similar contexts but different situations, then those two memories can kind of like collide at times. Not literally collide, but you get it. Like they kind of bump into each other, and so then the one that comes up more often might be the one that you remember more, and the other one just starts to go away and gets pruned. Or even if it doesn't get pruned, because like you still might remember the names of people you've known before, but they're not always the first thing to come up because the memories you need more often are blocking those memories and keeping them from surface when these ones are used more. Simple enough? All right, now let's get into why your brain is designed to forget. All the stuff I mentioned was about forgetting, right? But now we're talking about why it's actually designed to forget so many things. And guess what? We got 3 reasons. These aren't the only 3, but these are 3 I'm talking about. Firstly, sometimes we forget things because it's designed to protect us. If we were to remember every traumatic, every embarrassing, every nervous, or every nerve-wracking, or every anxiety-producing thing that we've ever been through, then we would always be on high alert and we would always be overly stressed, and that could lead to long-term physiological problems as well as psychological problems. For example, people who have PTSD will experience a lot of this. That's post-traumatic distress disorder, and that's when their brain doesn't let them let go of the trauma that happened because it was so severe. But in daily life, we might not remember that time in 2nd grade when we tripped and the whole class saw us fall and then we felt really embarrassed, unless me mentioning it to you just brought it up. That's because we don't always truly forget the memory, but our brain tucks it down so far that we don't remember the memory easily. It's still in the subconscious somewhere, but we do often remember the lesson of, yeah, when I tripped, I felt pretty embarrassed, so now I need to be more careful when I'm walking, especially in public places. You might not think about that, but it's just kind of built into our subconscious. Second, number 2, is it kind of makes us smarter. Because if we just never really learned anything new and everything just stacked on top of each other and it was always very, very rigid, then that would be difficult. But because of something called cognitive flexibility, then we can actually relearn things and we can learn new and better ways to do stuff. If you have a specific skill, I imagine you're probably not doing that same skill the way you did when you first learned it, because you've learned better ways to do it. And so now, if you go back and try to think about that original way of doing it, like for example, just writing, if you're writing your letters and you're used to following the little like dotted lines, then that's not going to help you because you have to make your own words. So, but this is just becomes so innate that when we write, it's just something. It's just normal. It just happens. But now imagine this when you're doing school or when you're starting a new career or even you're changing jobs, whatever it may be. So cognitive flexibility leads to improved functionality. Now, number 3, we're getting back to that email example. You've got 20,000 emails open and your brain has 18 tabs open at the top and you can't even see what they are and you're starting to blow smoke out, right? Yeah, if you're a computer. But because your brain is designed to forget and to prune, then your brain says, we're not using these, get those out of here. We're not using these emails, get them out of here. Let's try and keep things at a manageable level. You don't just have a whole room full of filing cabinets because your brain goes through your memories and says, you know what, we haven't used this in decades. Chuck it, right? Get it out of here. Yeet, as they say. Well, as they used to say, I still say it. Maybe we should all keep saying yeet. Stay strong, yeet. There are some things that we do that actually kills our memory. Or they're like memory assassins, right? Or memory saboteurs. Saboteurs? Memory sabotageurs. However you want to say that. It's French and I'm not. So an example of this is sleep and stress. If you really just don't want to remember anything, you just want to say, you know what, I just don't want to remember this specific thing, pull an all-nighter, you know? Just stay up all night and keep on and read something and do that whole thing and just try and remember that. Just try it. You might remember it the next day, but I tell you what, it's not going to stick around for you for very long because sleep acts kind of as like the save game on your video games, right? You see that little, when you start to get tired, it's like you have that little symbol in the bottom corner that starts going, saving, right? That's what it's like when you're sleeping. You're going, ding, 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 save, right? So if you don't sleep, you're kind of not saving your game or you're not saving your memory. Part of what we do when we sleep is we actually consolidate our memories. That's part of what dreams are, is it's the process of our brain going through and picking all the different memories throughout the day and throughout our life and saying, these are important, let's keep these. And these aren't important, let's junk them. So if you're not sleeping, your brain's not having adequate time to do that. And now stress triggers cortisol. Cortisol is kind of commonly known as your stress hormone. Cortisol is really bad on the hippocampus. If you're thinking about the hippocampus as like a school, right? Then pouring cortisol on there is like having a snow day. It's like all the snow comes down, and if you're not in one of the northern states for the US, then school's probably canceled. And so now it's going to be really difficult to get to school if you can get there at all. And so when you have cortisol levels that go up, your memory goes down. And what was the next one? Oh, hey, look, squirrel. Yeah. So losing your focus, losing your attention. This goes back to what I was talking about earlier when you're looking at your phone or when you're at a party and there's a lot of other stimulus going on and you're not focused. If you're not able to pay attention to something, it's going to be really difficult, if at all possible, to remember it. And just as a little bonus one, there's the doorway effect or the threshold effect. This is that feeling of when you are like, okay, I need to go to the kitchen and I need to grab some scissors. So you get up and you walk in and then you look around. After you pass the doorway, you kind of like look around and you're like,
I have no memory of this place.
Right? Well, that's because of the threshold effect. Essentially, when you pass through the door, you kind of open up to new stimulus of everything going on. And your brain picks up on little things that you're not fully aware of because your subconscious is picking up on it. But your conscious is like, why am I here? What did I want to grab? And then you leave and then you go back to what you were doing and you're like, the scissors. So that's the threshold effect. Just as kind of a fun little bonus one. All right, so you stuck around, or maybe you just skipped to be here. But now we're gonna talk about, so what do we do about that? What if we do really want to remember that random stranger's name at the party? Because maybe they're hot. You never know.
Oh no, he's hot!
Or maybe you do need to remember an assignment at work because maybe you actually need to get paid. You never know. So what do we do to actually be able to remember what we learn or what we're told? And how do we try to convince our brains that it's important and so don't get rid of it? How do we put the little star icon on and say, save this, don't delete it? Let me tell you. We have, you guessed it, 3, just kidding, we have 4 tips on how to better remember and actually save memories instead of allowing them to get pruned. Number 1, active recall. This is when you actually actively choose to like think it out, to like pull it from your memory. So stranger at the party, they say, hey, my name's Zach, or hey, my name's Jessica. Then you say, hi, Zach, and you say it out loud. You say it back to them. And then you say it maybe once or twice casually in the conversation. That way your brain is, you're telling your brain, hey, I am using this. I need you to hold on to it for me. Or if you're studying for a test, this is why you're not supposed to just read the whole textbook and then just close it up and say, whew, I'm ready for that exam. No, you're supposed to do something like maybe you make flashcards and then you quiz yourself. Because as you quiz yourself, then it's actually making your brain say, oh, you mean that whole textbook that we just read, you actually want to remember things from that? Really? Yes, sometimes we do. Another example is me doing this YouTube video. Being able to teach something to somebody. Me being able to teach you about memory is also selfishly helping me learn more about memory and make me better at remembering things. So, fun little bonus for me. So take that. Or you could go and actually like watch this video, then tell someone about it, and then have them watch it too, because I want the views too. So don't be stingy now. Number 2, we have intervals. So don't just binge, don't cram. I know people in school always hear don't cram for a test, and why do they say that? Because it's true. Think about like if you're outside in nature and there's a plant and it needs water, you can't just go and grab, all right, I got this 5-gallon bucket from Home Depot, I'll just dump all of it on now, and then that plant will be good for the next month. No, it has to be consistent. So when you're wanting to learn something and when you're actually wanting to retain that information, you have to keep on coming back to it. You have to repeat the process. You don't just do something once and then remember it. You have to practice and do intervals. So repetition. Number 3, these are a little bit more intensive and a little bit more personal, however you want to make them. You can make mnemonics. So like first letter of the word spells whatever it is, right? Or you can make a mind palace.
You better start eating right now.
Oh, nonsense. I will not eat my palace. I intend to live in it.
In your mind, there's all these different rooms, and in this room, there was the time that I learned this thing. I don't personally use that one. Maybe I should. Maybe I'll make a video on it. Who knows? And best of all, attach a memory to an emotion. Because when you can attach a memory to an emotion, then that pairs it even stronger. It's like putting it in bold letters in your mind. And number 4, you gotta take care of yourself. Get good rest, get good sleep. They are different. And eat well, exercise well. Don't drink too much, and just keep yourself in good health. Try to be healthy, because the healthier your body is, the healthier your mind can be. And the better you'll be able to focus and be able to recall. So, next time you forget your car keys or next time you forget someone's name, don't be hard on yourself and don't be hard on anybody else, because your brain is just doing its job. Your brain is acting not like a filing cabinet, but like an editor. It's not a warehouse that just stores all of your cabinetry and all of the information you've ever learned in your life. It's more like a gardener, carefully going through and making sure that you are able to function and flourish. What were some of your favorite techniques that I talked about? What was something you learned? Or better yet, share something with me. What's something that helps you remember things? Or what's something that you think I could have covered differently? Let me know in the comments. And let me know if there's anything else you'd like to know. But overall, if this was helpful, please like and subscribe, because that would be super cool.